TRE Talk Radio Europe.
Daybreak. What a beautiful day. Hannah Murray.
Good morning. It's just coming up to 9:20 and we are off to Thailand now to speak to Chris and Gabby O'Hare. They're currently on their world cycling tour. We've spoken to them a few times. They came into the studios, in fact, before they were kind of properly setting off. So we've really been following their journey. They're cycling 100,000 kilometres through 67 countries across all the 7 continents of the world, including Antarctica. This is all whilst raising awareness and funding for the charity Prevent Breast Cancer. This epic adventure is going to take them 7 years, they reckon, non-stop, and there will be no planes, trains or automobiles, just their bicycles and the odd boat for when they need to cross the oceans. So we spoke to them in July last year. They were in Georgia, which was their 16th country. They've now made it to their 27th country in Thailand and have been locked down on a desert island, living in their tent on the beach. Doesn't sound too bad, actually. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you both?
Great.
We're good, thank you.
So is it as bad as it sounds, being on lockdown on a desert island in Thailand?
No, not really. It's lovely. We're on a beautiful island. Nobody's around, only a few sea gypsies. So yeah, life's good on the island.
So how are there shops and everything? I mean, how are you feeding yourselves?
Well, the way we're feeding ourselves is we're catching fish just with the sea gypsies now. Well, we've been on here now 10.5 weeks. So there is a shop open on the far side of the island, which is typically where the tourist area, but everything's closed down really. All the hotels, shops, just apart from, like I said, the odd shop. So we're catching fish. You're able to find fruit on the island. So we're on limited. We've got a limited
diet.
Yeah.
Yes, my goodness. So you're really going back to basics then. How are you coping with that? Has it been a struggle?
Yeah, it is difficult. Like, for instance, drinking water. There's a couple of like freshwater wells in the jungle. So we do every other day. We go into the jungle with a couple of the sea gypsies to get water. We have been evaporating seawater.
Oh, wow.
Which is a lengthy process, but it just gives us something to do. So we do spend most of our days just looking for water.
We're learning something new every day.
Oh, I bet. I mean, did you imagine that you'd be doing things like this when you set off on your trip?
Not really, no. But because we've been travelling now for nearly a year, nearly 2 years, sorry, we've come across a lot of challenges. So we're kind of used to now finding somewhere to camp, finding water, not having that much food. So
yes,
we're getting pretty good at it.
So
Sorry, go on, Chris.
Yeah, so like we've been isolated on this island for, like I said, 10.5 weeks now since the lockdown started. But like Gabs just said, because we've been on the road for so long, we've had like weeks and weeks going through certain countries where we've not really seen anybody, and again it's been difficult trying to get food and water, so that sort of prepared us in the past, ready for what we didn't know what was lying ahead was this lockdown. So it's made it easier for us.
And how are you doing, without getting too personal, how are you doing relationship wise? Because a lot of people think, oh my goodness, I couldn't do that, if it's just the two of you for such a long period of time.
We have a big tent. It's like a 4-man tent, so I have one side, and I keep my distance.
No, we do really well, don't we? Because some people say, oh, I couldn't be with my husband 24 hours a day. I wouldn't know what to say to him. But we just both like, obviously, cycling and travelling and touring. So, yeah.
Well, that's it. We've been cycling together for 2 years now. But in fact, when we're normally on the road cycling, we spend quite a lot of time apart all day, because I tend to be cycling off ahead, and we meet up every hour or so. But now, we are together 24/7. So, but we do take time out. We go and do our own things, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm always having to go looking for wood because we cook a majority of things on the beach from just like driftwood that gets washed up.
Gosh, incredible. So, as I said, since we spoke last year, so it was July last year, almost a whole year ago, you were in Georgia and it was your 16th country. So, in brief, what was it like? How did you do it from Georgia to Thailand on a bicycle?
So we went to Armenia, and then we went to Azerbaijan, and from there we went across the Caspian Sea, which was quite tricky because we camped in the port for about 3 days because we never knew when the boat was gonna go or sail, so we had to hang around there.
Yeah, the boat's like a cargo ship.
Ship.
It's a common thing. The boat won't sail until it's fully loaded, so it can be anything from 2 days to a week before it'll leave. And
Interesting.
And the reason we went over the Caspian Sea is because we're British. We weren't allowed through Iran or Russia at that time. So yeah, we had to get this ship. So from there we
went to Kazakhstan, and that was desert, and the terrain was really bad. The roads were really bad. But the good thing there, we saw lots of camels, wild camels everywhere. Then we went through Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, which was the start of the Pamir Highway. So we did, the highest?
Yeah, it's the second highest road in the world, which was extremely cold, and we didn't see really anybody, did we, for the whole time we were there.
Chris suffered from altitude sickness, and he got really bad food poisoning. Yeah. So we had to camp for like 5 days. This is completely remote with nothing around.
At an altitude of like 15,000 feet. So it was, that was the problem. But we couldn't really move anywhere, could we?
It was a struggle.
And we followed the border of Afghanistan. So literally, when we cycled through Tajikistan, there was a river, and literally you could throw a stone at Afghanistan. You could see all the soldiers and people hiding in the mountains. Again, there was a lot of military presence as we came through that area. Yeah.
Then it was it Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan, which is where we went through Kyrgyzstan because that took us to the border of China, where we needed to go next.
So we got to the border of China on a Sunday, and the border was closed. We didn't realise that, so we had to camp again in the middle of nowhere with the wild dogs and the cows. Before we were allowed in
into China, which took us like 8 hours to get through the border control in China.
Oh my goodness!
Obviously, they're a lot of security.
Yeah, emptying bags out. Every checkpoint, we had to empty our bags, so it was quite difficult.
Very difficult. Yeah. It was very difficult, China, because every few miles there's a checkpoint, and they search your bag. Again, they ask you lots of questions, interrogate you, basically.
Yeah, we couldn't really camp, so we had to hide under like bridges. Yeah, in China.
My goodness. So some of this sounds pretty scary. Have you ever been a bit scared on your travels?
Well, when we was in, we've had quite a few things. Like, I suppose the most memorable one was when we was in Uzbekistan. I'll try and make it quick. We were camped up near the border of Tajikistan, and we were there 5 days early, so we weren't allowed into Tajikistan. So we were camped in some tobacco fields, and there was young children there, like 7-8-year-olds that work on the farms. So they kept coming to see us every morning, didn't they? And we just wanted some time on our own, so we moved into a forest. We just put the tents up. Gabriella was in the tent with her headphones on, watching a film on her iPad.
Singing away.
To a Disney film. What was it? Enchanted.
Yeah, Enchanted, yeah.
I was just led there looking at my phone, and I could hear a lot of shouting in the forest, which, it can be a common thing. There's always lots of locals around. But the shouting got louder and closer until eventually I heard the sound of like a gun being loaded. So I put my head out of the tent, and we had about 30 soldiers surrounding us with machine guns. So
goodness!
And they were pretty annoyed and angry, and no English was spoken.
No.
So they were basically telling us to go with them, pack up quickly. They go with us now, quick.
Lots more soldiers appeared out of the bushes, and then jeeps, military jeeps pulled up.
Really scary.
So, we was escorted out of that zone because we was in a forbidden area near the border, but we didn't know because there was no fences or signs. We just
we
thought
were in
it
the
was
military zone. So so they marched us out. And then they were all right after that.
Yeah.
They took a few selfies with us and told us to go to the correct border, go away. And so
Oh my goodness,
that was a scary moment.
And then again, similar things coming through Tajikistan, because there's a lot of military there. Because, like I say, we were right on the border of Afghanistan, so we quite often encountered military, and they were because you're in such a remote place, they wondered where you'd come from. You just see these two cyclists, and they are interested in what you're carrying on your bike. So we had a lot of stops and checks, and so we've got quite a few stories of hair-raising moments.
You have. So I've had a message from a listener, Mark, who's asked the question: what are sea gypsies?
Well, sea gypsies are they're like the nomadic travellers. They live from little wooden shacks on the shores of the islands in Thailand. So they have little boats called long-tail boats. So they just live off the land and off the sea, and that's what they do. They literally travel around island to island, fishing, and that's you see them all the time. More time in the water. Yeah. The children can actually swim underwater without any goggles on because their eyes have actually sort of developed over the years, and they've got perfect vision underwater. So
the sea gypsies that we know here, that like our neighbours, they're not there now. They've gone. So we presume they've moved to another island or around the other side.
So we've been spending we've spent a lot of time with sea gypsies because again, where we're camped up, there's a couple of little villages here. So we just started talking to them. We've been out on a boat with them fishing, and then we've just been helping them making like fishing baskets, and so sometimes they're giving us fish, or we catch fish, give them some fish. So it's a good.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We don't understand each other really, but
wonderful. So what is the plan then? Once you can get out of Thailand, once you can get away from this island, where are you going to go? What do you see the next 6 months looking like?
Well, it's a bit tricky at the moment because obviously we don't know what's going on. All the surrounding countries, all the borders are closed. So you can't obviously travel anywhere. Our visa in Thailand runs out the end of July. So we really don't know, because we were heading to Malaysia, but they're closed, and we've heard that they're not going to open till the end of August. We can't go in Cambodia. We can't go anywhere, so it's just like a waiting game.
Yeah,
so,
our visa actually ran out on the 26th of May, and now everybody, any tourist in Thailand, is on something called an amnesty visa till the 31st of July. Yeah, so, but until obviously we were hoping Malaysia border will open, because we're only 2 days once we travel back to the mainland, because that's the other thing, on this island all the boats have stopped running, so we can't even get off the island. I did hear that today there's supposed to be a boat operating back to mainland, but it's very difficult because in Thailand it's all made up of provinces, so you might be able to go to the mainland, but then you might not be able to go into the next province.
Because
can't move around freely.
No, they're called red zones and green zones. So there's more red zones, which means you obviously can't go in there, and there's checkpoints. You've got to have health certificates, and you've got to go into quarantine in certain provinces. So it's a no-go really for us. So
we're hoping Thailand will extend the visa, because we want to continue with our cycling tour. So it's just waiting, isn't it?
Yeah, we just need a land border tour. We've got there's a few countries around us which hopefully will open by the end of July, but it's just the unknown.
Yeah. Oh, well, fingers crossed you can get out of there soon. But in the meantime, enjoy being on a lovely little island in Thailand. I'm sure people are thinking, I can think of worse places to be. But as you say, I mean, it must be very, very difficult with one little shop open and having to survive on fish and create your own drinking water. I'm very impressed, guys. Well done.
We've impressed ourselves.
It's difficult at the moment because the monsoon season's hit us, and we get a lot of bad storms, but with the monsoon it brings a lot more mosquitoes and snakes, and there's a lot of monkeys around.
Lizards, bats.
Yeah, snakes. Lots of bats.
Oh, wow. Well, if people want to follow your journey, there's lots of different ways they can do that. Just remind everybody.
You can go to our website, which is chrisandgabsworldcyclingtour.com.
Yeah, and basically we're on all the social media, but you can find all that through our website. All the links are there. We make lots of films on our website. Again, we make films every other day, really, and we post them all on there. So
it's an interesting website.
Yeah, there's a there's a lot of stuff on there. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, you can find us, Chris and Gabs World Cycling Tour.
And then and there's a lot about our charity, Prevent Breast Cancer.
Great. And how are you doing with that? Do you know how much money you've raised so far?
I'm not sure exactly now, because at the moment it's very difficult with fundraising, obviously, with what's happening in the world.
I think we've raised about 12,000.
12,000, yeah. We've not raised anything.
Not as good as we want.
No, we're behind our target.
For that. Yeah.
But it's understandable.
Oh, no, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's difficult times. It's very, very difficult at the moment. Well done for everything that you're doing. Do keep in touch with us. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's lovely to hear where you are and what you're doing. And let's chat again in about a year's time, I guess.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having us back.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.